So today I'm talking about first impressions and second chances. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stein, and today I'm going to be discussing first impressions and second chances. As you may have heard this quote by A Tribe Called Quest, record label executives are shady. That's not the quote, but that's the sentiment. People within the music industry are untrustworthy. You and I have all seen especially with the internet and social media now these days, all the different testimonials of certain recording artists, musicians who have been wronged or have signed really, really bad record deals. Whether or not that's their fault is another story, but we all know that that's a prevalent issue. If you are a recording artist, if you've ever worked with anyone, you know the susceptibility of being involved with someone who may want to take advantage of you. Okay, so first impressions, second chances. I want to start off by saying that I personally feel that I'm a somewhat accurate judge of people's character if I get to spend enough time with them. And I know that's different for other people. They have other gifts or other things that they're good at. But I was just thinking about opportunities that I've had recently to meet new people, and I've noticed in myself that sometimes I can be skeptical and I can be maybe a little bit judgmental when I first meet other people. And I don't know if you feel that way about yourself, but first impressions are often emphasized, but they're not the most important thing. And when we meet somebody, what we see about them is a very small fraction of who they are as a person. And usually it's their best foot forward, but sometimes it's not. See, when I automatically assume that when I meet someone, I'm seeing the best version of them. And so if they are responding negatively, or they appear arrogant, or they are talking bad about someone or talking down to someone else, I'm thinking, well, if they're trying to look their best and this is who they are, then they must be way, way, way worse. And that's somewhat of a habit of mine. But I have to keep in mind that oftentimes I meet somebody and it's not their best impression. It's not their best foot forward, like I would assume. Like I would want to put my best foot forward if I was going into a job interview. I wouldn't act real aggressive or say things that were inappropriate. But sometimes I find people in that particular position when I meet them for the first time. And it would be inaccurate for me to judge them as a person based on that first impression. Also, I have been a person who has given bad first impressions. Sometimes my humor or my dry personality or my sarcasm is mistaken as rudeness. Some of my closest friends that I would say are the dearest people in my life, most of them had a bad impression of me when we first met. And many of them have said, oh, I've come to know that my first impression of you was wrong, and you meant this and you didn't mean that, and you came across like this, but you really are like that. This leads me to talk or to at least reflect on the need for second chances and the importance of second chances. As important as first impressions are, maybe second chances are just as important or more important from both sides. The first side is when I meet someone and I misjudge them. Maybe they had a bad day. Maybe they are around a certain group of people the first time I met them, that maybe they don't agree with one of the other people that I met when I first met them. Maybe they had a bad day. Maybe they had a bad phone call. Maybe there was bad news or a bad day at work. I have those, and sometimes that causes me to act a certain way. When I meet people, I'm not aware of how I come across, or maybe I'm upset. So when we meet people, when I meet other people, I need to resist the tendency for me to judge them and assume that that's their best foot forward, because it may not be, and it may just be the context, the people we're around, what time of day it is, what had just happened in their life that I had no idea about, stuff that they're dealing with. Also, second chances are important because oftentimes I do not put myself best foot forward based on maybe it's insecurity, maybe it's me trying to be funny, or maybe it's me saying something that was beyond the context of what conversation should be, whether that's maybe being flippant or being insincere or just not really holding to a context that I would normally hold to with people that I just met. Maybe I'm speaking more freely like I've known them for a while, which is sometimes a trait of mine. I'm often in need of second chances in terms of impressions. And like I said, my friends often have said this, that if they hadn't given me a second chance, we wouldn't be friends. So how does this translate into the record industry, into the music collaboration, into us trying to create with other people? And of course, as we move into maybe a more successful or more widespread audience, the need to hire people, the need to have people that are working for us or helping us, collaboration and whatnot. It's really, really important not that we just put our best foot forward and try to impress people in our first impression, but to keep in mind that when we meet people, that we may not actually be putting our best foot forward. We may not actually be receiving the best impression from them on the first time they meet. And I think that this is something that I've learned recently, is that I've had the opportunity of meeting some new people recently, and it's really, really easy for me to judge them based on first impressions. And this is not good, and it's not helpful for me in the long run. That being said, second chances are incredibly important. And you may find when you give a second chance to someone that they just confirmed what you believed the first time. That's great. At least you know for certain. But often second chances, second opportunities will give you clarity about what you think about how they come across to you the first time, but also gives you the opportunity to reveal who you are for a second time, to get people a better understanding of how you talk, of how you joke, of how you interact with people. And for me, that has helped a ton. Second chances have been the creation of many of my friendships. So as you navigate the industry that's often full of pitfalls and deception and corruption and greed, I encourage you, as I'm encouraging myself, to think soberly about first impressions and second chances, and how to appropriately apply those to our lives with people who we meet and people who we introduce ourselves to as we move forward and gain a bigger network of people. I'd be really interested to hear about what your perspective is on this. Have you had a series of bad first impressions, or have you had an instance of someone that you received a bad impression from them, and then later on you realized that you were wrong? I know all of us have probably had bad impressions, and then it's been confirmed that impression was true after giving them a second chance. But have you ever had the need for a second chance in terms of meeting someone, and it later on turned into a successful relationship or a healthy relationship? I'd love to hear about that. I'd love to hear your stories and maybe some ways that you could help me think through this and add to the conversation. I really appreciate the support. I appreciate you listening and watching the videos. It means a lot to me. If you'd like to subscribe, please do. Share it with anybody you'd like. And as always, we will see you again next time.